Ututazame kwa neema nyingi sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita ili tutekeleze shughuli muhimu za kaunti na Jamhuri ya Kenya. Tunakuomba utunyunyizie baraka zako sisi tuliokutanika hapa na utujalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayowasilishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili utukufu na sifa zako ziendelezwe na ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya kaunti hii yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amina. Honorable Clerk, kindly confirm whether we have the quorum.
Honorable Speaker, there is no quorum.
Honorable members, pursuant to Standing Order number 35, if there is no quorum present when the chair is taken, at the time appointed for a meeting of the County Assembly, immediately after the saying of the prayer, the Speaker shall order the bell to be rung for 10 minutes. Consequently, I direct the Sergeant at Arms to ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
Honorable Speaker, there is quorum now.
Okay. We can have the order of business today, 20th September at 9:30 a.m.
Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have the following communication to make. And today we're privileged to be visited by students from ACK Kipsugur Secondary School. That is a school in Kapkangani Ward, Mgwen Sub-County. They're led by their teachers, Mr. Kiprop Matthew. We have Mrs. Gladwell and also Mr. Amrod. So on behalf of the County Assembly of Nandi, we welcome you to these chambers for your learning. And as a tradition of this house, I'll invite the Honorable Member from Kapkangani, that is the leader of minority. And in his absence, I will invite the Honorable Chair, Education, to welcome the students from ACK Kipsugur Secondary School.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First and foremost, Honorable Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the student from Kapkangani to this honorable house. I want to welcome each and every one of you. Feel free. You are welcome for today's deliberation in the floor of the house. Honorable Speaker, aware that education is the only equalizer. It is the only weapon that I usually say, Honorable Speaker, the only gift that a parent can give to his sons and daughters is just but giving them adequate education. Honorable Speaker, the future that we are heading to, it is only determined by the hard work and discipline that you students are going to portray in your school. So I wish you the very best as you prepare for your national examination. And I want to promise you one thing. If you work smart, be disciplined, and follow what the teachers are telling you, it is possible for you in the near future to come and sit at this honorable house. I want to wish you the very best for in your forthcoming examination. Prepare smart, and you shall win with flying colors. As the Department of Education at this county government of Nandi, I want to wish you the very best on behalf of my colleagues, honorable members in the State Department. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and welcome. Thank you.
Honorable Birech, you can also welcome the students and the teachers.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me also take this opportunity at this juncture to welcome the students from Kapkangani Ward to this campus. And let me congratulate you first for having that idea in mind through your teachers to visit us here. And I just want to tell you, in life, there's nothing impossible. When you prioritize yourself, when you plan yourself, and when you believe yourself, it is achievable. Sometimes back, we were just students like you. Probably 10 years ago or 8 years ago, some of us, we were where you are. And life, it's a process. Keep going, keep working hard, and the only thing that will make you to be equal with anybody in the society is education. And the way the Honorable Chair for Education has said, the only real equalizer in life is education. So work hard, keep working hard, and in the near future, you will also have an opportunity to be in this campus, either as an honorable member, maybe member of county assembly, member of parliament, or governor. So we wish you all the best. You are most welcome. And I know you know the basic responsibility of this house, only three things. That is to oversight, to legislate, and to represent. Otherwise, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Most welcome.
Honorable Clerk, next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Honorable Isaiah Minor, member from Olesos Ward.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to seek a statement on the subject of affairs of the County Public Service Board and employee details. Pursuant to Standing Order number 45A1, I rise to seek a statement from the chairperson in charge of administration and public service with respect to the affairs of the County Public Service Board and employee details. Honorable Speaker, in this statement, I wish to seek the following clarifications. One, that the chair informs the House when the acting chair and members of the County Public Service Board were appointed into office and when their term will end. I wish that the chair attaches the appointment letters for the said officers. Secondly, explain to the House whether the officers of the County Public Service Board are legally allowed to continue performing their duties if and when their term expires. Thirdly, indicate to the House how many workers the county government of Nandi has, and I wish this to be desegregated into permanent, those on permanent terms, contract, and temporary, and indicating the sub-counties from which they come, including the wards that these staff members come from. Fourthly, provide this House with the dates of employment, the interview schedule or schedules, advertisements for the same, the department for which these employees have been posted, the station of work, and the role of the employee in those various stations. Finally, Honorable Speaker, indicate the dates of promotion or promotions, if any, specifying the average stay for a worker in a single job group. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chair, Administration.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to request that this House gives us 21 days due to the magnitude of the statement, and considering, Mr. Speaker, that we have other statements that have been sought in this House that have not been responded to, I request that you give us, on that issue that the member is raising, you give us 21 days so that we can get most of the details from the Public Service Board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable Chair, I understand your predicament because I know that a number of statements have been sought directed to the Department of Administration, but in the fairness of all manner and in the interest of time, because we had granted you 14 days, you can be able to synchronize these particular statement with the other statements that had earlier been sought by the Honorable Chair implementation. So you can be granted 14 days to avail the response.
Most obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion.
Honorable Bet, member from Kapchoro Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Before I say anything, I also want to take this opportunity to welcome the students from SEK Sukut Secondary School from Kapkangani Ward. Welcome to this chamber. Take this opportunity to learn and get a few things on how the assembly works, and most importantly, you get to know that through education, you can do a lot, and you can as well sit in this county assembly and even sit in the National Assembly. Feel most welcome. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to move a motion on procurement of MURRAM for construction of roads in Nandi. Aware that Article 227 of the Constitution of Kenya requires that public procurement be carried out in a system that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, effective, and cost-effective. Further aware that the Constitution obligates the county government to plan, construct, and maintain county roads, noting that the county government acquires MURRAM from private landowners, concerned that lack of clear and precise binding contractual agreement between the private landowners who are MURRAM suppliers and the county government has negatively affected MURRAMing of our roads at the ward level. Realizing that the MURRAM suppliers are also contesting pending bills, with county government, considering Article 227 of the Constitution require public procurement to be set up in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective. Concerned that failure to follow the laid down procurement constitutional demands on the acquisition of MURRAM will give rise to disputes between the MURRAM suppliers and the county government, whose net effect will negatively affect the public, leading to non-operationalization of the MURRAMing of roads in some wards. This House therefore resolves that the county executive through the Department of Roads and Infrastructure to procure MURRAM in accordance with Article 227 of the Constitution, in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective, and the contractual obligation arising from the complete tendering process of MURRAMing be made public. Mr. Speaker, sir, I welcome Honorable Emmanuel to second this motion.
Honorable members, I therefore propose a question that aware that Article 227 of the Constitution of Kenya requires that public procurement be carried out in a system that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective. Further, aware that the Constitution obligates the county government to plan, construct, and maintain county roads, noting that the county government acquires MURRAM from private landowners, concerned that lack of clear and precise binding contractual agreements between the private landowners, who are MURRAM suppliers, and the county government has negatively affected MURRAMing of roads at ward level. Realizing that MURRAM suppliers are also contesting pending bills with the county government, considering Article 227 of the Constitution require public procurement to be set up in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective, concerned that failure to follow the laid down procurement constitutional demands on the acquisition of MURRAM will give rise to disputes between the MURRAM suppliers and the county government, whose net effect will negatively affect the public, leading to non-operationalization of the MURRAMing of roads in some wards. This House resolves that the county executive through the Department of Roads and Infrastructure to procure MURRAM in accordance with Article 227 of the Constitution in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective, and that the contractual obligation arising from the complete tendering process of MURRAM be made public. Honorable members, the floor is now open for debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Aware, honorable members, that we've had a lot of challenges.
Honorable Beta, you seem to be out of order because unless you're now making a right of reply, you had the opportunity when you were moving the motion to extensively debate on the motion. Perhaps you can give your colleagues an opportunity. Thereafter, you'll have an opportunity to make a reply. Well, Honorable Isaiah Minor.
Okay. Very interesting. I think now we. Honorable Speaker, I must thank you for the opportunity. I'd like to thank Honorable Bate from Kapchoria for bringing this motion to the House, which is a follow-up to what we were discussing yesterday. I think this will go a long way in curing some of the problems that we have experienced in the Department of Roads. Ideally speaking, as I have looked at this and I'm looking at the words that are used, there is somewhere where I see fair, there is another place where I see equitable, then I see transparent, and I see cost-effective, plan, construct, and so on. Honorable Speaker, this is an indictment. It is an indictment on the Department of Roads. In fact, this motion, the move of the motion, and I believe so, that it is indicating that there is lack of clear and precise. It is even saying something to do with lack of following procurement law. If indeed this is true, I think that there should be further action to determine, to establish the actual extent to which the road goes. Because if we do not have procurement plans for MURRAM, and I even would like to further ask myself, what are the types of MURRAM that we are looking at? Is it that any MURRAM would suffice for any road? So this is a timely motion. It is important that the department takes it very seriously as the House resolves that this department follows the law. Surely, I think we are even, it is a disaster in itself because we cannot even be resolving that. I think we would have been resolving to take some action on the said officers who are blatantly breaking the law. We cannot possibly say that they have been allowed to do it before, and now we are inviting them to start. It should be apparent for all of them that the law is there to be followed. And I'm here thinking particularly so at the PFM Act and the Constitution. I think, as it is put, if we have a plan, a very clear plan on what the department plans to do in every ward, a clear plan on how the MURRAM will be procured, a clear plan on which roads will be constructed, then, Honorable Speaker, Nandi will go a long way. You will agree with me that the status of our roads today is, to say the least, pathetic. It is embarrassing. It always calls for quick fixes. Particularly so, there was a point at which a member yesterday indicated that there are so many emergencies. And you would find that there would be emergencies all over the place. And the only reason why this turns out to be an emergency is because the roads department is not working beforehand. They would wait until there are such issues, until probably there is a dignitary that is coming over. And then that is the time now you marshal all the machines into a single place. Why don't we do this before? So that it does, because like for instance, Honorable Speaker, dying. We know that all of us will die someday. All of us. So it is ideally not an emergency. All these roads, and wananchi are not happy at all. Whenever the county rushes to make a road for someone who has passed on, the citizens are crying. They are saying, can you have the roads beforehand so that we can use them when we are alive? I would like to use the roads when I'm alive. Honorable Speaker, most of our honorable members, I know of an honorable member here, when we were in a meeting, he was calling home to find out whether there was rain, because he said he will not get home. You can imagine if we have an honorable member like having such an issue, what about the rest of the citizens? Honorable Speaker, this is 15, we are going to 15 years. I urge this House to take a decisive action and ensure that if there is any malpractice, if there is any pilfering of resources, if indeed the engineers in this department are not doing their job, Honorable Speaker, this House has got measures it can take. Let us have marching orders on some individuals if indeed they fail to do the work for our electorate. Because the electorate are not happy and they would like to have the services now. Finally, Honorable Speaker, on this question, the lack of plan, the lack of clear procedures occasions situations where we have favoritism and sycophancy, whereby if a certain member probably is known to be a bit more vocal or anything like that, then it occasions situations where wards can be delineated so that no work is done in those particular wards for any reason. So the wananchi will suffer just simply because probably the honorable member came here and asked some difficult questions. Or maybe somebody does not like you. I'd like to just say, Honorable Speaker, if we make the law, let them follow it. They don't have to like us, but let work be done for our people. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Chelule from Songo Soba.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell this House that construction of any road can never be complete without MURRAMing and compacting of that MURRAM which has been applied. I have a case in my ward now where a road measuring about 10 kilometers was merely graded. No MURRAM has been applied on that road or compacting. And that road right now has been washed back, has been washed away by the rains. And yet colossal sums of funds has already been pumped into the road by grading. If some of you have seen pictures posted on the social media, that particular road has, that road has been photographed with somebody being carried by a sack to hospital, because the same road which was graded is now deteriorated to where it was before. We cannot condone wastage of public funds in that matter. I hope this House will agree with me that MURRAMing, that grading, MURRAMing, compacting, and culverting the drains, those are the actual procedures that should be followed for a road to be constructed in a useful manner. So, I support this motion on procurement of MURRAM because MURRAMing of a road is a very important component of road construction, which seems to be overlooked by the roads department. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Member from Kapsabet Ward, Honorable Matata, thereafter Honorable Member from Kabisaga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this motion. And before I contribute, Mr. Speaker, sir, I also want to take this opportunity to welcome the students from Kapkangani Ward to this assembly.
Honorable Matata, I know I'd given the latitude to Honorable Bet to welcome the students, notwithstanding that he wanted to move the motion. Therefore, Honorable Matata, I will rule that you're out of order to welcome the students.
Okay,
again.
thank you, Mr. Speaker,
Let's
sir.
proceed and debate.
Okay. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, as it has been moved by Honorable Bet from Kapchorwa, Mr. Speaker, is that this motion seeks to solve most of the challenges that we as honorable members in this house have been going through, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, you find in this motion, the member is talking about fairness, Mr. Speaker, sir. You find, Mr. Speaker, sir, with the current setup, there is no fairness in constructions of these roads, Mr. Speaker, sir. You find that most of the wards are even disadvantaged. You find that honorable members have to go use a lot of pressure so that you can have a road constructed in your ward. And you find that in our budget appropriation, we have appropriated a lot of resources to this department, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, the motion is talking about equitable. Something that is not actually happening. These machines you are given depending on who you are. As I stand here, Mr. Speaker, I'm Honorable Matata, but I represent the people of Kapsabet Ward. So if I have my own issues with anybody, on issues to do with the electorate, the people of Nandi, when I represent them, it should be treated that I'm presenting the issues of my electorate, not that I'm presenting my own issues. I'm mere courtesy of the votes that I was given, and I represent them. We are talking of transparency, Mr. Speaker, sir. You find, Mr. Speaker, you are just told you have been awarded 100 trucks of gravel to gravel the whole ward. What is 100 trucks, Mr. Speaker, at the current situation whereby we have a lot of rains? Huh? Competitive. In fact, Mr. Speaker, sir, we are told that there is a current framework for the supply of gravel to the county government of Nandi. I think, Mr. Speaker, I could even, and I'm even encouraged to move an amendment to this motion so that before we adopt this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, we shall have all the details. We have cost effective. How cost effective are these things being done? How is it cost effective? Are the residents getting value for their money on the current system that we are experiencing? Are we getting value for money? Mr. Speaker, sir, it happens that before I was elected, I've used to be working in these contracts, Mr. Speaker. And the quality of gravel that we are putting on our roads, we have government labs that are responsible on the testing, quality control, testing of gravel, to see that it contains all the parameters to make sure that before it is being placed on the road, all the parameters for gravel are being met. Mr. Speaker, sir, is the department doing gravel testing? Or are we just going there sourcing MURRAM without even knowing what is the quality of this MURRAM? We have a regional lab in Eldoret that is responsible for testing gravel. We have a regional lab in Eldoret that is responsible that during construction, they visit the construction sites to make sure that quality has been met without compromise. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to move an amendment to this motion, Mr. Speaker, sir, so that we can get clearly that we incorporate even the quality control personnel in the construction of our roads, Mr. Speaker, sir. The government has invested a lot in the whole of North Rift. For your information, honorable members, we only have one lab that is responsible for quality control. So it means the lab that is in Eldoret is too expensive and it cannot be constructed anywhere. So I want, Mr. Speaker, to move an amendment motion to this motion so that we can incorporate the issues to do with quality control, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I support this motion, but with amendment. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Member from Kabisaga, Honorable Cyrus Sum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this motion. First and foremost, I want to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Member from Kapchorwa for moving this motion that is geared towards ensuring quality roads in our county. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, we have a very big challenge when it comes to MURRAMing of roads in our wards. One of the biggest challenges, Mr. Honorable Speaker, sir, is the pending bills from the MURRAM suppliers. I have a case in my ward of Mzee who supplied MURRAM in 2020, 2021. And up to now, he has not been paid his money, amounting to around 140,000, Mr. Speaker, sir. So every time we try to source for MURRAM, or the department tries to source for MURRAM, people, the perceived suppliers, have a lot of fear that the department will not pay. That is one of the challenges that we face in trying to ensure our roads are in good quality situation. Again, Honorable Speaker, sir, I remember last time we were given a 10-kilometer road to be graded in every ward. I must say the results of that grading alone was disastrous to us as honorable members, because when you grade a road and you don't MURRAM it and the rain comes, it becomes more worse than the situation it was before grading. So it is really indeed important to MURRAM our roads. Again, Honorable Speaker, the strategies the department are using in ensuring that our roads are in order, I must say, are not achieving the desired results. So I call upon change of strategy in the department, because the way they have been doing it is not achieving the desired results. Again, Honorable Speaker, the distribution of MURRAM, as said by Hon Matata from Kapsabet Ward, has not been fair to all the wards. There are some wards where the machines from the county concentrate much than other wards in our county. Again, Honorable Speaker, sir, we have had delays in graveling and MURRAMing of our roads because of the challenge of fuel supply to the machines. As it stands now, I think we are almost going to that week where the machines are not working because of lack of fuel. Lastly, Honorable Speaker, sir, it is not fair to honorable members to be reduced to beggars across our departments. For your road to be done, you have to beg, you have to visit the department several times. You even, sometimes you have to look for those people, even at night, so that they can agree with you that you really deserve, your road really deserves to be
Point
done.
of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Tarbey.
Mr. Speaker, I'm raising verse 1 to standing order number 90 on the accuracy of facts.
Yes.
The member is making a gross statement that he has to look for our dignified staff even at night, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that can be demeaning to our honorable CECs. Maybe if it is not substantiated with facts, Mr. Speaker, you should withdraw that statement because it's sending a different message to the world, Mr. Speaker. So I want the member to justify if indeed the statement is true, then he has to come through, Mr. Speaker, because that's a serious allegation, and Mr. Speaker, someone might be discharged because of such a statement.
Honorable Soom, you've been called to task to substantiate that indeed you've been visiting the CCM members during at night.
Honorable Speaker, sir, I was trying to put across the magnitude and the level at which we have to go in begging for service delivery. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Yes, Honorable Tarbey.
Mr. Speaker, we need to substantiate, Mr. Speaker. And if the statement is just I don't know what to call it, it's a metaphor, so you should withdraw. But, Mr. Speaker, those are serious allegations. We've had the CECs in this honorable house, Mr. Speaker, and we believe our CECs are credible people. They should be visited at working hours, not at night, Mr. Speaker. So the member should either withdraw or apologize, Mr. Speaker, for using a serious allegation.
Honorable Soom.
Okay, Honorable Speaker, I withdraw and apologize.
Point of order. Point of order, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minor.
On the same question of substantiating, is the honorable member for Nandi in order to say that we vetted all the CECs in this house, and which CECs that is he referring to, particularly the CEC in question?
Now that Honorable Maina Honorable Soom has already withdrawn the statement, I think...
Speaker, since this is a house of record, and the honorable member for Nandi has alluded to the fact that we vetted all the CECs, I'm hesitant to have such a term to stand Could he clarify? Could he substantiate?
Honorable Tarbey, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The chairman for implementation, whom I respect, Honorable Saya Maina, knows very well that all the CCs cannot work without vetting. It's either they were vetted before or they were vetted by this honorable. But the fact remains they were vetted, Mr. Speaker. So it doesn't matter the time they were vetted, but all the CCs cannot work without this honorable house approving them, Mr. Speaker. So
the honorable member is asking whether the third county assembly vetted all the CCs. That is purposely his point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I believe so. But if they were not vetted, it means the honorable house, including honorable Maina, failed to do so, Mr. Speaker. But I believe they must be working after being vetted, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, honorable.
The honorable member for Nandi is misleading this house. And despite the fact that we have visitors and we are live, it is very wrong, Mr. Speaker, sir. He himself knows that the CEC in question was not vetted in this assembly. And he is trying to challenge, surely, Mr. Speaker, that should not be the case.
Honorable Tarbey, you've been simply asked whether the third assembly vetted the CCM member in question.
To my knowledge, Mr. Speaker, I think the CC was vetted. That's why he's in office, Mr. Speaker. To my knowledge, unless I am convinced otherwise. But as much as I know, Mr. Speaker, the Constitution is clear, and I believe that he is in office constitutionally and was vetted. To my knowledge.
That is okay, Honorable Tarbey. Perhaps Honorable Tarbey, I'll task you possibly within 2 days to avail to this Honorable House the proceedings to that effect. Honorable Sum, proceed.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to conclude by saying that indeed service delivery, especially in regard to roads in Nandi County, is really very, very much poor. And therefore, I support the motion by Honorable Member for Kapchorwa so that we can ensure we have good roads in our wards and let those roads be fairly distributed across all the county. I support. Thank you.
Before I give Honorable Kevolwe, just to get the House, Honorable Matata, you had initially alluded that you supporting the motion with amendment, and I'll draw your attention to Standing Order number 55, where it states that the proposer of an amendment to the motion, before moving it, hand the proposed amendments in writing, signed by the proposer to the clerk at least 2 hours before the order is read. 2, despite paragraph 1, the speaker may, in exceptional circumstances, allow a member to move an amendment to a motion before the county assembly at any time during consideration of that motion. I'm afraid, Honorable Matata, you've not moved any amendment for consideration, be it under 55(1) or 2.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for that concern. And I now, Mr. Speaker,
No, I've not given an opportunity. I was just guiding the House. Honorable Kevolwe, proceed.
Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Keter. Honorable Kevolwe, you may remain seated.
Yeah, I'm not concerning the honorable member you've given an opportunity to speak, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I'm concerned in the Standing Order number 55, Mr. Speaker, that says, Mr. Speaker, despite paragraph 1, the Speaker may, in exceptional circumstances, allow a member to move an amendment to a motion before county assembly at any time during consideration of that motion. Mr. Speaker, I request, Mr. Speaker, the chair, Mr. Speaker, to invoke that, Mr. Speaker, that Standing Order 55-2 and allow Honorable Matata to move this amendment, Mr. Speaker, because I feel it is of concern to honorable members, Mr. Speaker, rather than adjourning, and then we go and then come back. And I can see honorable members are in agreement with Honorable Matata.
Honorable Keter, I was just getting the House Honorable Matata had already had an opportunity to debate on the motion, and I was just informing the House that Honorable Matata did not proceed to move any amendment for consideration.
And Mr. Speaker, that is why I raised with the Speaker to request the chair to give him time to move that amendment.
You cannot request on his behalf. Honorable Kevolo, proceed.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa nafasi hii niweze kuchangia mjadala ambao uko mbele yetu. Kwanza nitamshukuru sana Mheshimiwa Bet kwa nafasi hii ambayo ametoa mjadala ambao ni wa maana na unahusu gatuzi letu hili la Nandi. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni dhahiri ya kwamba kuna shida katika uwekezaji ama katika huduma ambayo yafaa wananchi kule mashinani wapate. Hasa shida ya kuweka MURRAM katika barabara zetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii ni jambo ambalo ni waziwazi ya kwamba uwekezaji ama kuweka MURRAM katika barabara ni haki. Na vile Mheshimiwa Beta ametoa hii mjadala ni kwamba, Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi nimekuwa katika bunge hili, hii ni mara yangu ya 3 nikiwa katika bunge hili. Na Mheshimiwa, mpaka tujiulize tulianza kunyeshewa kuanzia wapi? Mheshimiwa Spika, hii maneno ya shida ambayo tuko nayo kabisa, hasa hata mimi katika sehemu ambayo nawakilisha, Mheshimiwa Spika, barabara hazipitiki. Na juzi tulifanya bajeti, tukaweka pesa, tukasema ya kwamba hizi pesa ziweze kwenda kutengeneza barabara na kuweka MURRAM. Lakini sasa inakuwa baada ya siku moja ama siku 2 mafuta haiko, mashini imeharibika. Sasa hizi shida tutabeba mpaka lini, Mheshimiwa Spika? Ingekuwa bora, Mheshimiwa Spika, sasa mimi naweza kutoa mwelekeo wangu. Nasema hivi, Mheshimiwa Spika, maneno ya sisi kuweka pesa na hizi pesa hatuzioni, sababu zinaharibika tu bure. Ukienda saa hii watu hawezi pita, wakulima kula hawezi beba chai yao, kumekuwa na shida mingi. Sasa mimi ningesema hivi, Mheshimiwa Spika, tunataka ikiweza tuweke hizi pesa ambazo tunapeana hapa, mainjinia wetu na mawaziri wetu wanasema ya kwamba wanatuelekeza tuweke katika kandarasi. Watu wapewe kandarasi, ndio hata akiunda hata barabara moja inaweza kata miaka 5. Kuliko tunajaribu kufanya na hatufanya, alafu hakuna usawa. Sababu kuna sehemu nyingine watalima barabara mingi, sehemu zingine zile sasa inalingana, ng'ombe inakula kulingana na urefu wa kamba. Kama kamba yako ni mrefu, utakula nyazi mingi. Kama kamba yako ni fupi, unakula kidogo. Sasa hii, Mheshimiwa Spika, tunakuwa na shida. Na hii ni jambo ambalo linaweza rekebishwa. Iwapo kama tutajua ya kwamba tumepea kandarasi, tutaweza fuata kama ni kampuni fulani, tunafuata ya kwamba kwa nini hajafanya kazi hii na amepewa kiwango cha kuweka MURRAM. Kiwango hicho tunajua ya kwamba kimeweza kufanyika na tunasonga mbele. Kuliko tunarudi, nimeona Mheshimiwa akisema hapa natafuta waziri mpaka nyakati ambazo haziruhusiwi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Sasa sisi hatuna hiyo nafasi, saa zingine tunataka hiyo nafasi tuwe tunapumzika kulingana na kazi mingi ambayo tunafanya. Sasa sisi tunataka tuwe na mwenenda ambao uko sawa sawa. Na mwenenda ambao uko sawa sawa ni kupewa kandarasi kwa ambao watangangania, wananchi ambao watangangania. Wakishapata hiyo kandarasi, tunajua barabara tumeunda kwa kila ward na barabara 3, kutakuwa na usawa, hakutakuwa na shida. Wengine watakuwa wameunda kilomita 50, ila wengine wako kwa kilomita 8. Sasa kutakuwa na uwazi. Sasa Mheshimiwa Spika, jambo hili ambalo limeletwa kulingana hivi leo, mimi niko katika kamati ya barabara. Na hii kamati ya barabara, Mheshimiwa Spika, tumekuwa tukilia, tunasema tutafanya namna gani, Mheshimiwa Spika? tunaongea, tunarekebisha hapa maneno, baada ya wiki mbili hiyo maneno yamerudiwa. Sasa jamani, hii ni nyumba ambayo yafaa iheshimike, na yafaa tukitoa jambo liweze kuzingatiwa. Sasa iwapo tutajirudia mara kwa mara, hakutakuwa na nia yetu kukuja hapa tukiongelea maneno, tukienda katika daftari zetu maneno kuhusu haya maneno ya MURRAM. Mheshimiwa Spika, hizi mjadala zimeongelewa mara kwa mara, na vile zinaongelewa mara kwa mara hupuuzwa. Sasa mimi naomba tu hii nyumba, sababu tuko hapa waheshimiwa wote, tushikane bako kwa bako, tuhakikishe ya kwamba leo tunasukuma hawa wanaume wafanye kazi. Iwapo watashindwa, waende wapumzike kwa amani. Watu wengine wapya waje waweza kuanza kufanya kazi. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, nadhani bunge hili litaunga mjadala ambao nasema Mheshimiwa Matata ongezee hapo ya kusema ya kwamba tupe kandarasi watu wafanye kazi. Hiyo rekebisha hapa hiyo maneno, tuende mbele. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Honorable Trufosa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for allowing me to contribute also in this motion. I arise to support this motion totally about MURRAMing in our roads. The motion is clear that procurement being carried out in a system that is fair. We need fairness in MURRAMing. We need equitable transparency in our roads. To say the truth, our roads in Nandi County are pathetic. I come from far end, Kemela Maraba Ward, bordering Western Vihiga County. If you manage, you honorable members, to visit Vihiga County, the roads are very smart, very smart. Every road in Vihiga County is MURRAM. So I'm questioning, what is wrong with Nandi County? What is the problem in Nandi County? And yet, we have a budget for MURRAM. We always put budget for MURRAM. We put budget for fuel, as well as machinery maintenance. So we need to know how the department are purchasing the MURRAM. Is it through procurement, that is tendering, or it is locally? The department should furnish us how they purchase MURRAM, because we don't have MURRAM in our wards. 2 months ago, we were given 10 kilometers every ward to create. I created 10 kilometers, but it is the same as nothing. I tried last week on Saturday to visit my people in Ukemela Maraba. It rained seriously. It was a problem to me to reach my house. I was stuck, and the road had already been created, no MURRAM. I used my money for the youth within to remove my vehicle, which has already gone to the ditch, due to mud and whatever. What are we going to do, surely? Imagine my vehicle being in the ditch due to MURRAM not being put in the road, and yet I'm the area MCA. Is it not so shameful? It is very shameful. So, if we keep on creating the roads without MURRAM, it is better than nothing. We better leave. I support Honorable Kevolwe that we need to tender the roads. If a road is tendered and being graded at MURRAM, that road can stay for 5 years without any problem. So I support this motion that we need to know how the department are purchasing MURRAM. If not so, then we can suspend this matter of grading roads for the time being until they will tell us how they will be doing by purchasing the MURRAM. So I support the motion. Thank you for the mover. This is a very serious motion. Let's support this motion. Thank you so much.
There is a honorable minority leader, by the virtue that he's a ranking member, thereafter Honorable Talbey. Honorable Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I contribute to the motion, with your indulgence, I kindly request that you allow me welcome the students from Kipsugur SEK to these chambers, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you are aware that you had sent me to attend some duties, and that is why I was late. So all said and done, Mr. Speaker, kindly, if you can allow me.
Okay, you granted latitude, just a minute, and then you may proceed to debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to welcome the students from Kipsugur High School to this County Assembly of Nandi. This is the assembly that we make laws, we represent our people, and for them being here, Mr. Speaker, I'm very much grateful being the member representative of Kapkangani Ward. I must say, Mr. Speaker, I'm a very happy honorable member today. I believe this is the first school, Mr. Speaker, since I entered this county assembly. This must be the first school visiting us. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful, and I want to sincerely tell my colleagues that the school performs well. The students in that school are disciplined. I want to encourage them that you work hard and maintain discipline. Mr. Speaker, I believe that in one time, amongst them, we have doctors there. Amongst them, we have teachers. I am a teacher by profession, Mr. Speaker. But being a teacher, they say teaching profession is a noble profession. That's why I'm here today as an honorable member of the County Assembly. And above all, by God's grace, Mr. Speaker, I pray that I'll be the governor of this county of Nandi in future, Mr. Speaker. And of course, when I graduate, Mr. Speaker, definitely I believe that we have an MCA amongst the students seated there. We have members of parliament among them. So that is why I want to encourage them that continue working hard and God will bless you so that in future you will achieve your goals. Mr. Speaker, I think I call upon my colleagues so that one of these fine days, before they sit for exams, I'll invite honorable members so that we go and have a word with them, so that we encourage them. So I assure the students of Kipsugur that one of these fine days we will visit you and we will have a word with you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Coming to this motion from Honorable Member Kapsimatua. Mr. Speaker, I really want to support this. And Mr. Speaker, I've had my colleagues as if we are begging. We are not begging, Mr. Speaker. We are demanding that once we pass this motion, Mr. Speaker, we are talking of devolution, and devolution means we devolve money to the ground. And I want to thank Honorable Member Richard Pate for coming with this motion so that, Mr. Speaker, within our wards, we identify those places that we have good MURRAMs. We procure them. And of course, Mr. Speaker, by procuring from our local people, Mr. Speaker, we will have empowered them. By empowering them, Mr. Speaker, again, Mr. Speaker, we will have actually made our road possible. Mr. Speaker, I really want to encourage this because I am aware that we've been doing grading alone. And immediately after grading, Mr. Speaker, when it rains, the same roads are not possible. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to side with my colleagues that let us pass this motion and ensure that implementation are done fully. So that, Mr. Speaker, the issue of our roads not being MURRAM, that be the things of the past. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Member Kapsimatwa, I want to say we are supporting this motion. I think it could have actually come before this. It's one we are down the line, but we are saying better later never. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say I support this motion. Honorable members, let us support. And after we have passed this motion, I call upon the chairman implementation and chairman roads that we will support you so that we realize implementation of this. Mr. Speaker, this is the best motion. Let us pass the way it is. And going forward, our roads will be good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support.
It is Honorable Tarbei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. But before I contribute to the motion, Mr. Speaker, I know you have given me a directive that I should inform this House within 2 days, Mr. Speaker. But I want to request, Mr. Speaker, that since this is a serious matter that needs a comprehensive report, Mr. Speaker, that I want to request that I address this issue from the committee point of view, Mr. Speaker. As you know, I'm the chair for delegated county legislation, Mr. Speaker. I was requesting that if you can mandate my committee so that we can be able to invite even the answered officers, Mr. Speaker, and to shed some light, Mr. Speaker, so that we come with evidence that if in case, whether the CC concern was vetted or not, Mr. Speaker, so that we can be able to furnish this committee, this House with a comprehensive report on the same, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, as you see, yesterday we had a motion concerning roads, and there were a lot of allegations, Mr. Speaker. Today we are having a same motion also pertaining to the same department. So, Mr. Speaker, this might be a serious issue because could it be possible that maybe the CC is not respecting the honorable members or so? So, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if you can be able to direct the same on the same so that we can be able to give a comprehensive report on the same, Mr. Speaker. Before I contribute on the motion, I need maybe guidance on the same, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Tarbei, I know it was your individual sentiments at the time when you were making the submissions, and it appears that you making an appeal out of the ruling that we've already delivered, and that is automatically out of order. So your application is declined. You may proceed to contribute on the motion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for that guidance. I think I'd be able to furnish the committee, the House, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to first congratulate the mover of the motion, and secondly, Mr. Speaker, to thank you and your able office, Mr. Speaker, that when we were in recess, Mr. Speaker, you were able to facilitate us for a training. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, personally, I'm seeing changes from the first session and the second session. We are seeing members seeking statements and moving a lot of motion. This means, Mr. Speaker, the training we went was very fruitful, and we owe it to your office, Mr. Speaker. I want to congratulate the mover of the motion. Mr. Speaker, this motion is timely because where I come from, Mr. Speaker, that's Kaptumo, with the El Nino that has been predicted, Mr. Speaker, if MURRAMing is not done, Mr. Speaker, it means all our roads will be 100% impassable after the rains, Mr. Speaker. So if this motion goes through, Mr. Speaker, and the department acts and roads are MURRAM, Mr. Speaker, I want to from the wording of the mover, Mr. Speaker, that the Constitution is in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, and cost-effective. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member for Koyonduru, your ward, can tell you that in this area, Mr. Speaker, if roads are even graded alone, those areas, they have a lot of sandy and MURRAM, so they don't need a lot of MURRAM, Mr. Speaker, but grading. But for example, a ward like Kaptumo Gabo, you cannot grade a road and leave it like that without MURRAM, Mr. Speaker. So when we say the cost-effective, there are some wards or regions that needs only grading because they have MURRAMs. And even sourcing the MURRAMs, Mr. Speaker, some areas, if you source MURRAMing, it becomes costly because where the MURRAM are located is at distance, Mr. Speaker. So it means there is a lot of approach, and I would concur with Honorable Matata, Mr. Speaker, that if there was a, maybe if the honorable member had taken time to move the motion, but now that we are not sitting close, maybe you should have passed me the notes. I move a motion for this motion to be amended, Mr. Speaker. That will make justice to this motion, Mr. Speaker. So this motion is wonderful and needs some little amendments so that work is done in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, I congratulate the mover of the motion and I fully support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You can see 4 honorable members are upstanding. And
Ranking member.
We can have Honorable Tildai, thereafter Honorable Rubeti, Honorable Mosbey, and then Honorable Silas Kogo.
Thank you,
That
Mr.
order.
Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Tildai.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And honorable members, Mr. Speaker, you should know when a ranking member stands, Mr. Speaker, we always thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, I stood to amend this motion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Matata had given us a good suggestion, but then he finished his conversation or his sentiments, Mr. Speaker, without moving the motion. Mr. Speaker, I stand to move the motion, Mr. Speaker, that this motion, Mr. Speaker, be amended by including the following words after the words made public in the last paragraph, Mr. Speaker, and include the following. And that the participation of the Quality Control Department is involved to ensure the quality MURRAM is achieved to realize that all the road contractors, Mr. Speaker, source MURRAM from certified quarries. Mr. Speaker, we realize, Mr. Speaker, when sometimes when the county governments gives out contracts, Mr. Speaker, some contractors bring us bad MURRAM, which is not certified, Mr. Speaker, which they don't have any quality control. And Mr. Speaker, I felt that when we amend this motion for Honorable Richard Fate, Mr. Speaker, so that we add flesh on the same. So that we add flesh on the same, Mr. Speaker, to assist us, honorable members, that, Mr. Speaker, this, apart from those people who have been given to supply MURRAM to this county, Mr. Speaker, I think Article 227 has not been followed, Mr. Speaker. That is the Constitution, which gives us that law which regulates the procurement. And I feel, Mr. Speaker, we have other members of the public, Mr. Speaker, who supplied MURRAM 5, 6, or 7 years ago, and they have not been paid, Mr. Speaker. So we want these laws to be followed. The Article 227, Mr. Speaker, to be followed by this Department of Roads. And again, Mr. Speaker, on these roads, when we give out these contracts to construct roads in our places, Mr. Speaker, quality should be ensured, Mr. Speaker. By now, Mr. Speaker, this motion giving us an opportunity to ensure that all quarries, Mr. Speaker, which contractors supply us with MURRAM should be certified, Mr. Speaker, by the quality control, Mr. Speaker, by taking the samples from those quarries to Eldoret so that we know which quarries are good and which ones are bad, Mr. Speaker, so that we should not do a road today, next week when the rains comes, it is washed away, Mr. Speaker. And again, Mr. Speaker, the department should ensure after MURRAMing, Mr. Speaker, we should compact, Mr. Speaker, to the standard which has been given. We have engineers, Mr. Speaker, and they should ensure that one. And because I'm moving an amendment, Mr. Speaker, I do request Honorable Matata to second, Mr. Speaker, this motion.
Honorable Tildai, that is okay, honorable members. I'll therefore invoke the provisions of Standing Order 55-2. I know we've been unable to receive a written amendment within 2 hours, But that notwithstanding, I'll invoke the provisions of Standing Order 55.2 and admit the aforesaid amendment. I'll therefore proceed to propose the amendment on the procurement of MURRAMing for construction of roads in Nandi by including the words "and that the participation of the Quality Control Department is involved to ensure the quality of MURRAM is achieved, to realize that all road contractors source MURRAM from certified quarries." May be able to proceed. Yes, Honorable Tarbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the motion as amended by our Honorable Member for Jepkunyuk, Mr. Speaker. That's Honorable Geter. Mr. Speaker, if we have been able to transfer the various roads in our county, Mr. Speaker, and at times you wonder, a road is MURRAM today and the following week, the MURRAM has all been washed away, Mr. Speaker, simply because they brought maybe low quality MURRAM, Mr. Speaker. So, with the amendment, Mr. Speaker, this motion now has both bones and flesh because the quality is of essence, Mr. Speaker, and the initial mover of the motion who couldn't get the chance has been a contractor for a while before coming to this Honorable House, Mr. Speaker. And quality assurance is very important, Mr. Speaker, so that the people of Nandi can get value for their money. So, with the involvement of the quality control, Mr. Speaker, it means our roads will be able to be in standard in terms of both quantity and quality, because sometimes you find that they do some MURRAMing not to the level that is required, Mr. Speaker. I saw recently the Kera roads were being launched and they were carrying a pen and they were saying for a standard road, Mr. Speaker, it must be a thickness of a pen, Mr. Speaker. But you find in most areas in our counties, they just put a layer that's not even millimeters thick, Mr. Speaker. So it means when the rain comes, Mr. Speaker, the road is being washed. So with this amendment of bringing in the quality control, I believe we'll get good roads in our country. I support the motion of amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I know I had given the order only that once Honorable Tildai had moved this motion of amendment, and that is why Honorable Tarbey has had an opportunity to speak to the amendment. So we will maintain the same order. It is Honorable Rubetti, thereafter Honorable Mosbey, and then Honorable Kogo. I can see the mic of Honorable Member from Songo Soba. So, Honorable Rubetti, proceed.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance. I also stand to support amendment to this motion. First of all, I thank whoever brought this motion, that is Honorable Bet from Kapchorwa. So I'm also concerned about the roads, knowing that 90% of our roads in Nandi County needs MURRAMing and maintenance, and this is something which should be a continuous process. It is not something that we do it once and it is for all. It needs maintenance almost every 3 months. Our roads should be maintained. So since the motion now was specifically on the procurements of MURRAM, so it happened that my ward is very rich in MURRAM. Almost all corners have sites of good MURRAM. But the roads in Kosrai are also pathetic, even though we have the MURRAMs. So what I'm putting in now as to be amendment is that when the county government will take those sites whereby the MURRAMs are from the landowners. The landowners, the people who supply the MURRAM, have been exploited for so long. Who weighs the lorries and who weighs the MURRAMs that is being taken so that they get their real dues? Because at times they are told that this lorry is only taking 10 tons, while the lorry can even take up to 15, up to 20 tons. But who is protecting them? These people who are supplying us with MURRAM. Something has to be done. The weighing has to be done from the side so that the owners of the MURRAM get the right thing that MURRAM. Because here we have said cost effective. So actually those people are suffering. At the same time, those mining sites of MURRAM has been left to be dangerous or hazardous to the communities. When the county takes their MURRAM, they just leave a very big holes there. During rainy season, we find that livestock and even human beings are drowning in those areas. So another thing that should be captured is that once the MURRAM has been done, leveling of the ground should be done by the same who have gotten the supply of MURRAM from that place. Because when we leave it to the landowners, they might not be at the position to seal all those holes. So it should be one of the amendments there that once the MURRAM is done there, okay, leveling of the ground to be done to stop other hazardous things happening. Even those pools, a lot of mosquitoes are breeding in there. You find the people of those areas suffering from malaria every now and then because of the county government who have just attacked pools of water taking the MURRAM. And again, when the MURRAM is being transported from a place, before they start taking the MURRAM, they should first of all put the MURRAM to that road, so that when the lorries of the MURRAMs are moving from those roads, the road is safe. Otherwise, wananchi will stop those lorries from transporting the MURRAM. Because at the end of them, the contractors, at the end of them going with the MURRAM, the roads there are left in a pathetic situation than the way they found it. So it should be one thing again. Before you take the MURRAM should be put in the roads where these lorries are passing. So that is some of the those are some of the things I've seen that should be added in this amendment. Because we need everyone who is participating also to have something. Okay, one, to be satisfied. The people with the MURRAMs and even the roads which the MURRAMs are being taken to. Because God has given us in Kosirai MURRAM as one of our resources. So our people should not be exploited, and our roads in Kosirai should be well maintained, put enough MURRAM before the MURRAM is taken to other wards. Otherwise, there is no equitable in MURRAM. Since I've been in the office, there is no MURRAM that has been put in the Kosirai roads. We are still waiting, and the days are moving. Every now and then, the machines, no fuel, ABCD, taking us up and down. We shall stop it. So if it means that we, in Kosirai, we shall use crude method, we can use it. Because when our cries is only falling on the deaf ears, we shall use the crude method, and there will be no MURRAM out of Kosirai ward. And it is the best MURRAM. Even Kapsabet ward has been getting MURRAM from Kosirai. The whole of Jesumei, the other side, Lelmo Kwangejek, Kilibwani, they have been getting MURRAM from Kosirai. But if you go to Kosirai and see the state of the roads now, they are so pathetic. And in Kosirai, we have people busy doing their work. What they need is only the roads and nothing else. If the roads are well maintained, no politics, no noise in Kosirai. They are doing their work. So consider what I've said. Let us all consider what I've said to be part of the amendments. Otherwise, I stand to support the amendments of these procurements of MURRAM. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Isaac Mosbey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to contribute on this very important motion, particularly the amendment. I want to thank the mover of the amendment, Honorable Keter from Chepkunyuk, because looking at the original motion, Mr. Speaker, it was just that the mover of the motion was not brave enough to move an impeachment motion on whoever is in the roads department. Because we cannot reinvent the wheel. The procurement procedure is quite clear. It was just that that procedure is being flouted. And if we could prove that the procedure has been flouted, then we an impeachment motion. But as it is amended now, it is quite in order. What we've been crying about is not so much about how the manner in which procurement has taken place. What the residents are crying about is the quality of MURRAM. It has been wanting. Many times the residents will up in arms saying that the MURRAM, the purported MURRAM, is basically soil. Compacting has been lacking. And in this amendment now, when we talk about the quality, it is going to be value for money for our people. So I fully support this motion, bearing in mind that the aspect of road making or road repairs and whatever in our respective wards has been thorn in the flesh, especially between us and the people we represent. For Kaptumo Kaboi, I remember there was some slight works that were done. And at a certain point, the MURRAM there was being ferried. I don't know whether it was at night to Kapsabet ward again, while the Kaptumo Kaboi ward had not been done. So again, as we move forward, particularly the committee on roads, should ensure that whenever works are done, or rather whenever MURRAM is procured, the area from which the MURRAM is being procured should be given first priority. It should be done, then the MURRAM can be taken to the neighboring wards. Otherwise, there is a lot of iniquity in the manner in which MURRAMing, grading, and all that manner is being done. When there will be equity, that shall be the time now when our people will be happy with the manner in which they are being served. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I fully support this amendment motion, and that the committee on implementation should actually move with speed to ensure that when we pass this motion, it is fully implemented. Mr. Speaker, I'm looking at the time, and I want to plead with you. Whenever I see teachers around, I feel I should take a moment to thank them for coming around. The teachers of Kipsugur and the students, that they are welcome. I know their principal, Mr. Tarus. I know a teacher who has brought them, one Madam Gladwell, and I know it is a school that is doing quite well. I want to tell them that I was a teacher only the other year, and everything is possible. For the students, I want to wish them the very best. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May God bless the children around us. Thank you.
Honorable Kogo. Honorable Matata, you could see your mic was on. Okay. Well, we can have Honorable Kogo, thereafter Honorable Matata.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this time to give my remarks. I want to say that I support this motion with amendment, the motion that was brought by Honorable Richard Bett, an amendment being brought up by Honorable Tildai. Honorable Speaker, what we need as this assembly or honorable members is the inclusion of quality control. And quality control measures should be brought to this motion so that when doing the procurement of the MURRAM, it should be a quality MURRAM. The only remedy of our roads is the procurement of quality MURRAM and not only MURRAM. We sometimes have MURRAM in quotes loam soil, and these people are purporting that it's MURRAM. So this time will not be business as usual, and for this, the fairness, equitable, and transparent, and competitive, cost-effective, as the Honorable House, we must stand with what we have, with this motion on procurement of this MURRAM. Honorable Speaker, we have poor road networks in our wards. These El Nino rains, Mr. Speaker, I'm a victim that nowadays I have to leave my car 15 kilometers away and track because of the impassable roads. This time, Honorable House, and I want to urge this House, let us come together on this to see into it that it will not be business as usual. We are suffering. Our electorates are suffering. I can't sit there, Honorable Speaker, and see my good people from Sangalo Keblonik suffering. I must speak to the letter that the concerned body, the department, must pull up their socks to see that they procure quality MURRAM, so that we see our road or our roads in our various wards being passable. Honorable Speaker, we have our border guys. They are suffering a lot. Honorable Speaker, at this century, it's not good. I don't know, we are living in the 17th or 18th century. So the Department of Roads and the committee on our side. Honorable Speaker, I want to urge this House, the Department of Roads and Infrastructure, led by Honorable Gideon Kogo, to work on this. Kindly, we are not supposed to be landlocked at this era. Honorable Speaker, it's so pathetic. It's so shameful. And I want to urge this House and the Committee on Implementation. Here we are passing this motion, and I want to urge you that do your part. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that on behalf of my ward, I being their representative, we want to see work done. Service delivery to our electorates is paramount. Honorable Speaker, I fully support. Thank you.
Honorable Matata, thereafter we can have Honorable Chelule, because
Thank you.
I'd already given an opportunity to him.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First and foremost, Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to thank my colleague, Honorable Tildai from Chepkunyuk, from bringing up the amendment motion that I actually proposed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I can say this without any fear of contradiction. The inclusion of the Quality Control Department in this issue of road construction, it will actually end the monkey business of contractors bringing soils and dumping in our roads, Mr. Speaker. And I want to urge, Mr. Speaker, that yesterday we passed the other motion. Today I'm certain we are going to pass this motion. I want to urge the chairman implementation, together with the chairman of roads, make sure that what we are doing in this honorable house are fully implemented, so that, Mr. Speaker, sir, we shall not have this issue of passing motions here only for them to be put in the shelves and nobody is implementing. We want to see the full implementation of this. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, sir, I slightly feel that, Mr. Speaker, you are unfair to me. I wanted to encourage the students of Kipsugur. So, Mr. Speaker, you can allow me just one word for these students, Mr. Speaker.
You didn't seek leave the honorable member. You can welcome them in a minute then.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to say to the students, Mr. Speaker, sir, that firstly, be God-fearing. Secondly, hard work. Work hard. There is nothing like luck. You must work hard. Thirdly, be disciplined. Fourthly, utilize the resources that your parents have sacrificed to invest in you. Don't waste those resources. The only resources that your parents have actually sacrificed so that you can get the best education, I want to say, please utilize. And finally, I want to say that be positive always and aim higher. And there is nothing, let nobody despise you, that there is something called impossibility. Everything here on earth is possible, depending on how you approach it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you very much.
Honorable Chelule, thereafter we'll put the question.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the amendment motion brought forward by Honorable Tildai with respect to the quality of MURRAM that is used on our roads. The quality of MURRAM is of paramount importance if that road which has been MURRAMed is to last. I remember very well, Mr. Speaker, way back in 2013, a road was being MURRAMed in my ward. By then I had not come to this house. The contractor went and excavated loam soil, calling it MURRAM for the road. In protest, I took the sample of the MURRAM he was applying on the road and carried it in a motorbike all the way from my home to Kera offices here and protested. That protest saved this country wastage in terms of the quality of MURRAM that was supposed to be applied on that road. When I protested, they came with an alternative MURRAM, which was, I think, was proper. That MURRAM was applied and compacted. And that road did last for more than 10 years before it deteriorated. So this aspect of quality of MURRAM is very important in the construction of our roads. If we have to have a cost-effective way of maintaining our roads. That is my contribution, Mr. Speaker. The quality of MURRAM on our roads is of paramount importance. And then after applying, there must be compacting, proper compacting. And drainage is another important aspect. If we don't drain, if we don't open drains at short intervals along the road, you have rain washing away the roads. Because when you have a large volume of water running on the roads and they have not been diverted elsewhere, then the same MURRAM is washed away. And we end up in square one. So actual operation of road construction is very important. Because these contractors who are contracted to do that work, they want to earn cheap money at the expense of the public. Another aspect, Mr. Speaker, yesterday we had an opportunity, the Roads Committee had an opportunity to engage the CEC for roads. I sat here as an observer. One of the resolutions was that when machinery for road making is in a certain ward, they cannot be moved away without the consent of the MCA for that ward. As I speak right now, Mr. Speaker, road making machinery in my ward, which was stationed at the Metete Hospital, has been loaded to be transported somewhere else. When the CEC for roads himself say that that will not happen. It is a protest. I don't know what action I can take against the CEC. If not to impeach him or cut his neck if possible. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, let me end there.
Point of order, Honorable
Yes,
Speaker.
Honorable Minor.
Would the honorable member from Songosoba be in order to use such language and to even suggest that he would like to impeach the CEC when he knows there is no such a motion before this House?
I'm sorry, Honorable Shangu, but I am concerned about the rights the people of Songosoba are supposed to enjoy.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable
Is it in order for the honorable member from Songosoba to address the honorable member who had just risen to instead of addressing you, Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Selule, you out of order on that. You should always address the chair. And you've been asked to substantiate whether it is true, rather it is proper for you to allude to the issues of impeachment when there is no such motion before this House. And I also heard you talk of to cut off the neck, or what was it?
Let me withdraw, Mr. Speaker, but I must say that I'm very much concerned that are the double standards that are being exhibited by the CEC for roads. That is my concern. Because what has happened is that road making has been stopped in my ward, and I don't know for whatever reason. Thank you.
Well,
yes.
Honorable Kiprop, Edwin, your mic was on, or can I proceed to put the question? Okay. Honorable members, having debated on this motion on amendment, I proceed to put the question, which is that the motion be amended by including the following after the words made public, and that the participation of the Quality Control Department is involved to ensure the quality of MURRAM is achieved, to realize that all road contractors source MURRAM from certified quarries. Will as many as of similar opinion say ayes?
Aye.
And will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Honorable members, we can then revert to the motion with the amendment. Honorable Kiprop.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand with amendment, point of order number 55(2). The Speaker may, in exemption circumstance, allow a member to move an amendment to a motion before County Assembly at any time during consideration of that motion. Honorable Speaker, I now, after resolving that the County Executive through the Department of Roads and Infrastructure to procedure MURRAM and accordance with Article 227 of the Constitution in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective, and that the construction obligation arising from the complete tendering process of MURRAM be made public. Honorable Speaker, I now request that within 90 days, the CEC in charge of roads and infrastructure made a proposal bill regulating all roads design, construction, and maintenance within the county government. I request that the bill should be I propose the Nandi Roads Bill to the State Department. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable member from Nandi Hills, I've had your input on the amendment, and this being a motion, and you also alluding to a bill. I don't know, are you proposing that a bill to that effect be passed by this House, or you proposing an amendment to the amended motion already?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It was a resolution that so that it will be two resolution within the. Thank you.
Honorable Kipropa, just for record purposes, we'll wish to understand, whether you proposing that a bill to this effect be brought to this House, or you proposing a further amendment to the amended motion that the same be done within 90 days.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm proposing for further amendments.
So you can move the amendment then for consideration.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Honorable Speaker, I was requesting the State Department, the CEC in charge of roads and infrastructure, within a period of 90 days, should give us the bill should give us the proposal regulating all roads design, construction, and maintenance within the county government. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I request Honorable Shanku to second.
Honorable Speaker, considering the enormity of the issues and being cognizant of the need to regularize, to sanitize, to remove the need for honorable members to go and beg, I support this amendment that the CEC in charge of roads, that department, should, as the honorable member from Nandi Hills suggests, within 90 days, bring to this House a proposed bill seeking to speak to all the issues that honorable members have talked about, in the entire morning, particularly so when it comes to design of the roads, so that it can be clear not all roads, not all areas require or can get the same interventions. There would be certain roads that need different approaches. It would be only important that we codify this in a piece of legislation, complete with all manner of responsibilities, so that we know right from the beginning what it is that we can expect from this department. Then we could also include there sanctions and offenses. I would like to give an example, Honorable Speaker. The other day, when our Deputy President was visiting my ward, it so happened that the MURRAM, which was taken, more problematic than the way the road was earlier on. So it had to be removed to look for some other material from elsewhere. I take this to mean there was no design. It was not known what the BQs are. It was not known how that road, the intervention that was required. And I think this can only be solved if and when we have it set out clearly in a piece of legislation. In which case, this House will then have a recourse for action whenever somebody in the executive flaunts the law. I should want to imagine that after that, actually probably before it, Honorable Speaker, so much as it is not a subject in this matter, that there should be a policy as to what would be required for our roads. And then probably a further step of making regulations, in which case now I think the people of Nandi can finally begin to enjoy from a sister county, just neighboring us. Every time, Honorable Speaker, if you want to know that you have moved from Nandi to that other county, you just know it by how the car you're traveling in begins to behave. Immediately you just get to the other county, the roads are smoother, peace. Even if your eyes are closed, you would immediately ask, oh, what has happened? I say, no, you have just gone into Wasingishu. I am saying this, Mr. Speaker, with a lot of sadness. We need roads. We need roads in Nandi, and they should be done today. Not tomorrow, today. Sadly, there are people seated there. They enjoy good salaries. They are taken good care of. But they are not willing to take care of our people. And then the pressure bears down on the representative of the people. Why the state of the roads is at the moment. And yet, where will the MCA hide? Why are these people making us to hide? And sanctions put in place so that we can be able to move forward. Support this amendment.
Honorable members, I'm afraid that I may not be able to admit that particular proposed amendment for the reason that the Honorable Member, you well alluded to the fact that this House needs a proper legislation. And in that amendment, you've also talked to the issue of regulations, policies, and perhaps a bill. And I feel like because this is a House that legislates, it is not a prerequisite requirement of the CCM member to bring to this House a bill. I know this Honorable House is also capable of moving such a bill, preparing that particular legislation, and it is always proper that we can have those particular amendments in a very substantive bill or even regulation or policies that cannot be cured by this amendment. Back to the original motion with the amendment. Honorable Bet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I now to thank the Honorable member for Chepko. Amendment on the original motion. I want to say thank you. We face a lot of challenges, not only for grading, introduction of quality control on this amendment will indeed add value and give a reason to smile. For quite some time, like the honorable member of said, they would just excavate anything and dump on our road. We need to have a standard road that serves the purpose of Nandi County through transport and infrastructure to have better roads for accessibility within our county. The only remedy we can get is to ensure we pass the chair for implementation and my chairman in committee to ensure implementation part of it is actualized. I believe in you, Honorable Energy and the synergy to push this to implementation and ensure no more cries from members for the benefit of our people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable members, I therefore proceed to put the question as on the motion on procurement of MURRAM for construction of roads in Nandi County as amended. Aware that Article 227 of the Constitution of Kenya requires that public procurement be carried out in a system that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective. Further, aware that the Constitution obligates the county government to plan, construct, and maintain county roads. Noting that the county government acquires MURRAM from private landowners, concerned that lack of clear and precise binding contractual agreements between the private landowners who are MURRAM suppliers and the county government has negatively affected the MURRAMing of roads at ward level. Realizing that MURRAM suppliers are also contesting pending bills with the county government, considering Article 227 of the Constitution require public procurement to be set up in a manner that is fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective, concerned that failure to follow the laid-down procurement constitutional demands on the acquisition of MURRAM will give rise to disputes between the MURRAM suppliers and the county government, whose net effect will negatively affect the public of the MURRAMing of roads in some wards. This House therefore resolves that the county of roads and infrastructure to procure MURRAM in accordance with Article 227 of the Constitution, competitive and cost-effective, and that the contractual obligation from the complete tendering process of MURRAM be made public. Participation of the Quality Control Department is involved to ensure the quality of MURRAM is achieved to certified quarries. Will as many as of similar opinion say ayes?
Aye.
And will as many as of contrary opinion say nay? Ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, adjournment.
Honorable members, there being no